The picture of a restructured Nigeria is painted a bit differently in Oyo State. In a related event in the state, the Deputy Governor, Mr. Moses ADEYEMO, pushes for the model which is in use in the United States of America.
It is my take that Nigeria adopts the United States of America model of two tiers of federal arrangements, whereby there will only be the federal and the state governments. Under this arrangement, local governments will be operating completely under the states, while revenue allocation formula should be reviewed upward in favor of states to about 35%. And the federal collected revenue shared between states and the local government. Not only that, power should be dissolved to states as a major step towards advancing the much needed rapid development in our country.
Apart from the ruling party, groups which represent various ethnic groups in the country have been holding their gatherings to popularize their stance. Ibadan Declaration is the result of the Yoruba Summit to demand the immediate political restructuring of Nigeria into regional lines, and it was at Ibadan, Oyo State. The communique, which has been adopted, summarizes restructuring as equal to true federalism and will have the country organized into 6 regions to allow them develop at their own pace. The meeting also had in attendance some representation from the southeastern parts of the country. There's also the movement for Oduduwa Republic and Yoruba Liberation Command, with some supporters calling it the quest for self-determination and the yearning for freedom. Their reason is for the preservation of their civilization.
Yes. At this moment,
representing a part of the South-South region, the convener of the Midwest movement, Mr. PEDRO OBASEKI, says he speaks for Delta and Edo State, and their stance is that Nigeria is better off as one country, however, on the terms which are different from the existing one.
We think the narrative is a little skewed. Going to say restructure, as someone who is a professor of English, it doesn't mean anything. It's an amorphous word. Restructure to what, from what to where? So we are asking for a deliberate refederalization of Nigeria, because the problem we have today is the fact that the Khaki boys defederalized Nigeria by making it a unitary state, but with only Federal Republic as just an appellation that is written on the front page of the Constitution. But a federation is a coming together of persons or of units of different variegated opinions, origins, history, culture, agreeing to federate, to come together under one umbrella called the nation Nigeria. Whether they did that directly or indirectly, whether it was done for them by fiat, by the Sir Frederick or Lord Lugard amalgamation is not important. So Nigeria was a nation that was built on the tripod of 4 regions, as at the early hours of the 15th of January 1966, when Nziogo and Co took over. Ever since then, everything that was agreed upon that made Nigeria move forward. Then everybody has scholarships, bursaries, there were inter-regional, inter-ethnic agreements. All those things were flaunted and flouted away, because the military created a new Nigeria based on decrees and fiat. So we in the Midwest, we are asking that as the #1 breadbasket of this country, as the most marginalized section of this country, we truly believe that Nigeria is a greater nation than it should be. We truly believe that Nigeria has nowhere to go than to remain Nigeria. But in that Nigeria, we insist on a new, more equitable, more justifiable distribution and devolution of power, whether the power is fiscal or political.
There are, however, some individuals' views which may not be captured in the larger opinion of restructuring. Although they are not averse to the idea, they ask that the right way to approach the matter would be dialogue with all concerned parties.
A lot of people are calling for resource control. A lot more are calling for devolution of power. A lot more are calling for restructuring, just restructuring. The best way to go about it is that all this tension that you see, IPOB and everywhere, let them articulate what they want. Let every group articulate. Nigeria need to sit down and discuss the best way. It shouldn't end with me. It shouldn't end with any other person. You shift a little bit to the left, a little bit to that, and we do things the way it should be done. I have never traveled outside this Nigeria with any other passport. I carry a Nigerian passport. So I'm a Nigerian. Anything I should be talking about is Nigerian. That is why I do not support what the IPOB is doing. But they have been able to say that things are not being done in the well to our people in the Southeast, which is very, very glaring. And when your child is complaining, this agitation did not start during this Buhari's regime. It was still long during Obasanjo, and it went through to Jonathan and up to now. So if people are crying, if your children are crying, you should listen to them.
Restructuring of Nigeria is both constitutional as well as it is political. Now, and I will say this because constitutional, let me start with the constitutional part. Now, there are different ethnic groups in this country with different aspirations, different objectives, and different way of life. And for you to integrate properly, there must be opportunity for self-existence by each of the various groups. And I think that is what people are asking for. Now, on the constitutional point, too much power is given to the center. If you look at that 1999 constitution, you will see that it's a military constitution. Not just that, it is a unitary constitution trying to disguise as a federal constitution. Because there is concentric of power at the center. All the power is at the center. All the wealth goes to the center. It is from the, it must come to center first. If you look at the provision of section 162, before the center begins to now distribute to the various parts.